Rhino, mate, how are you this week?
Good, mate. Good, mate. What did we just do, dude?
Well, we've just had our podcast unpacking the Carlton game. Unfortunately, it obviously wasn't a great day, so we've tried our best to make it entertaining. There are a few really nice performances, though, to come out of the day. Harley Reid was massive, wasn't he?
He was huge. And Rep Azzo as well, which we'll mention later if you guys check out the episode. He was huge for us this week, and obviously a tough game, but it was good to see a few guys step up in this game as well.
Never a good week when arguably the biggest shining light comes from your twos game. But your boy Ollie Franco, mate, he was electric in the WAFL.
He was an absolute beast, dude. He was huge in the contest, and we drafted this guy as a number 3 pick, and we're just loving to see the way he's gone about it the past few weeks. And yeah, he's just starting to show some signs of why we drafted him. So really excited to see if he maybe gets AFL minutes.
Absolutely. Looking forward to covering off that. We had a little bit of a chat as well about Adelaide this week on Friday night. That's going to be a tough game. We see how we go, but we are fearful of perhaps a blowout on Friday night.
Yeah, very worried about that one. They are electric. We mentioned in the podcast later on, you'll hear us mention about their tall forwards and how they can maybe put a bag on us. So really nervous about that, but a slight bit of confidence. I think we can maybe get up for this one.
Yeah, well, I think we mentioned in the pod, like we've done enough this year to feel we'll have that sense of delusion going into every game that maybe we're a sniff.
Yeah.
And that's just going to lead to a whole lot of disappointment, unfortunately, I think. We've got a little bit critical this episode. We outlined 4 names that we're not super happy with, 4 names that we're not stoked with. We're not known for our analytical or very critical takes, but there's 4 players in the firing line. So make sure you check out the episode and make sure you check out the episode to see why Rhino's got his black eye. We got into a little bit of a blue this week over a topic, and so we had to cut out a little bit of the scrap, but we're on good terms again now.
We're all good, dude. So yeah, you knocked some sense into me, mate. So, so no, please tune in to check out, guys. It'll be fun.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the episode. Great to have your company on the Golden Wings podcast. Joined as always on my left by Rhino, who is looking a little bit worse for wear, mate. How are you? How was your weekend? And do you want to tell us how you got that black eye?
It was good, mate. It was a bit interesting. Obviously, the black eye is not great. Obviously, having a podcast on the Monday.
I think it looks tough, bro.
Do you think it looks tough? Yeah. I might just keep bashing in my eye and keep having it on every Monday. So yeah, copped it on the weekend in our game on Sunday, and yeah, it was not fun.
Unlucky, man.
It hurt. I was like, couldn't see for like 5 minutes, dude. I was like, it was like a weirdo, like trying to see out of my eye.
Still got best on though, I'm told.
Best on, mate. 3 votes for the weekend, so I was pretty happy with that.
Mate, he's had a day.
Had a day out.
I'll tell you who didn't have a day, and that's the Eagles. Did you catch this game on Saturday?
It was good. I did catch it on Saturday, mate. It was so disappointing, dude. Like, honestly, I was going into that game, I put him in my tipping. I was thinking, maybe we're a sneaky chance.
Really?
Here. After the bye, thinking we're fresh, we're ready to go. The boys are going to get up. Nah.
This year's sort of got us, hasn't it? Because we've got some wins and we're playing some decent footy when we play against some of the worst sides. So you do genuinely feel like any given day we could be on, we could do something special. But I think we're clearly a class above, and it was quite frustrating. We were speaking before our post-production meeting. Is that worse than a game against Sydney or Geelong where we get belted off the park, but it's done?
I believe so, mate. Like if Carlton, if we're expecting to get something out of the game, I think we should be losing by like 20 points, maybe 30 points. I don't think we should be getting blown out like we did. Like it was pretty disgusting.
It was death by 1,000 cuts, wasn't it? Like it was just slow, and it was hard to watch. Minnie in his presser mentioned, they had 120 uncontested marks. Yeah. And that was their plan, to try and take that away from them, and they couldn't get it done. So I'd love to know what the plan was, because I didn't see any man-on-man defence. I didn't see much pressure on the ball carrier, and it all looked too easy from a contest point of view. You had some stats in terms of disposal and contested possession midway through the game. Do you want to run us through that?
Well, at half-time, we were down by 100 disposals.
Yeah.
It was 244 to 144. And if you're not getting the footy, you're not going to do anything. Carlton were all over us. We didn't get anywhere near it. There was no contest, no pressure on the ball. They were just getting uncontested mark up to uncontested mark. And I think Minnie mentioned beforehand that was their plan, to stop the uncontested mark game at Carlton. And I didn't see anyone sprinting to stop the ball or stopping the disposals going around. They'll just get an easy chop mark, run through, mark inside 50. Like, they need to go back and really review that game, because if that was their mindset and they didn't even execute, if a team has 120 uncontested marks anytime, they're going to win the game.
Sort of caught in two minds here, because it's easy to sit here and say that, but then you remember we are a young side, and like we're going to have our blips in performances. But you look at a team like Melbourne, who, you know, they've got more games experience for sure, but they're not a star-studded lineup, and they compete every single week just because of the way that they're coached. And so I think this is one of those weeks where I think it's fair that the questions are asked of Mini, and maybe he's tactical nous, but he's been pretty good this season, so willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But a pretty dirty day. We are just very reactionary when we play Carlton. Didn't really try anything offensively. We know we've spoken at length about the predictability going forward, but they bullied us in the contest, and it just felt like we were playing catch-up all day. Unfortunately, one thing that was fun to watch, though, was Harley Reid and Paddy Cripps battling it out in the middle. Plenty of little moments in that matchup.
It was good to see him like talking as well. Cripper gets a goal and he runs straight to Harley. That's just good to see. That's good fight, good contest. Harley gets him back. Like, that's what you want to see. Like, Harley's a beast, and he was probably best on for us in the game, which we'll get to later in our MVPs. But
by far and away, that goal from the centre too.
That was beauty.
Unreal. And Willem's goal too in the first quarter. Just some talent there. Not the best day from Willem, obviously coming back from an injury. Someone that we bidded on in the draft last year at pick 3, Harry Dean comfortably got the better of Jake Waterman, and you can clearly see why we did place that bid. What a game.
What a game from him, man. He was just all over us. And there's stats earlier in the week that came up where he kept Georgiades to 1 goal. He kept other players scoreless. Like, this guy is well and above his age bracket. Like, as an 18-year-old kid, you don't expect a key defender to even be playing AFL, let alone starring as a backman for Carlton in defence, with obviously them losing Jacob Wiedering.
It's a great shout.
It's a great shout. And Harry Dean, like, these guys really stepped up the last few weeks with Wiedering down and taking the best matchup every week on the best opponent in the forward. A bit like what Ruben Jimby's doing for us. He's been doing similar things. And this guy just looks so comfortable at the level. And I mean, we did try to get him, guys. We got to remember that we actually did. We did all we could, but this guy was never going anywhere else but Carlton. So, yeah, it is what it is. We obviously get Cooper Duff-Tyler, which we're absolutely stoked with.
And he didn't have his best game, but he's going to be a slow burn in the ruck, as we know. Now, you mentioned something to me pre-record that I wasn't too happy with. Might have been why I gave you that black eye. But you said that Harry Dean is potentially even, your pick for the rising star at this stage.
It's hard to think that. I think in earlier the season, we were thinking it was going to be a 2-man race in Jagger and Dersma, but what Harry Dean's doing as a key defender in the AFL has to be noticed. It's really important. Like, these guys should be getting a lot of credit. These defenders, this is the hardest role to play in the game. Key defender playing on the toughest forward every week. And he's really stepped up. He's kept players scoreless. He's getting touches on the ball. He's taking intercept marks. He's in the contest every week. He's a beast. He runs with his opponent. He's everywhere around the ground. And
he was, wasn't he?
He was. He's just an absolute beast. He definitely deserves the credit. He definitely needs to be in that conversation. But yeah,
it's hard to argue with you at this stage.
It is hard to argue. I mean, there's obviously quite a few games going left, and Durs can get a run, and Jagger could get a run. But Harry Dean's making a really good case for him right now. But
it's good to see him all out on the park.
It is.
For the one game, unfortunately, not Willem's best day. It was a pretty dirty day for Jake Waterman, but the one thing that I did really like to see was when he finally did take a contested mark over Harry Dean.
Yeah, I did see.
Gave the hands over the top to Job instead of going back and kicking a certain goal. I don't know. I just felt like that was...
it's a team first mentality, right? That's really good. And we mentioned earlier in podcast his score involvements are really high, and we're starting to see why. Like, he's willing to sacrifice his goals for the betterment of the team. So he's stepping up as a leader as well, which is great.
Job Shanahan having a quiet day too, so something like that could have been really good for his confidence. So just the little things, but not a great day. A key position player down the other end who we thought had an excellent game. One of the best 6 disposal games you'll see
Big Reddy
in footy was Big Rat Bazzo, who you've been really hot on to start the season. We'll chat about him a little bit later with the votes, but he's building really nicely. Just defended so well.
Oh, huge. And this guy's having to step up. Obviously, with Ruben going down, it's him and Tyler as our big key backs, and he's becoming that number one guy within the absence of Jimby, and really stepping up, playing on the harder opponents in Mackay and these guys. And just loved he was going into the contest. I think he got numbers of 1%ers in the game, which are huge, and 1%ers are underrated stat in AFL. If he's getting in those like low percentage contests and he's spoiling and he's marking, that is huge for us. And that is a lot of effort going in, and he's really starting to develop quite nicely, which is lovely to see, I think, mate.
No, absolutely. Now, one thing that I did really just want to get off my chest before we move on from our first thoughts, how is Josh Lindsay not in this team? I'm really struggling to understand. He's arguably our best kick in the footy club. He's got genuine footy IQ, and he's not afraid to put his head over it, which the same can't be said for some of his teammates. We won't name names, but he's clearly a big part of the future. Why aren't we playing him?
He needs minutes on the pitch, and we've seen he got dropped earlier in the season. He came back in and had a really great spell of games. Got the rising star nom in that huge win over GWS, and I just don't understand why we keep dropping him. He didn't even play WAFL, did he?
No, well, this is the thing. So he played half a game of WAFL a couple of weeks ago for a rest. They had the bye, and then he's had a week off this week. So in the last month, he's essentially played 1.5 games of footy.
We're interrupting his development if he's not getting minutes on the pitch. So I just don't understand even if he's off the interchange.
It's tough. I think he would have played WAFL until TK went out, and then he became the travelling emergency probably to go over and see family and whatnot if he didn't get the chance to in the bye. But clearly not ideal, and we would have liked to have seen him play at some level this year, and probably would have helped us get the win in the WAFL, or another game under his belt in the AFL side wouldn't go astray. So I'd be shocked if he's not in this week. And he deserves a game, whether it's on the wing, whether it's at halfback. Move some magnets around and just get him in.
Yeah.
But I want to get to our votes, mate. Let's have a quick look at some of the best players before we get too tied down in the negatives. We'll forecast some changes for this week as well, surely. But for the first time this year, mate, our votes are exactly the same.
I want to mention that we do this completely anonymously. Kurt doesn't mention his MVPs. I don't mention mine until we do the show. So it's really great to see.
Yeah, love it. Do you want to run us through the votes? And
I'll run us through. I think we mentioned it earlier how 5 was obviously Harley. He was a beast all game. He never stopped trying. 23 touches, 15 were contested. Uncontested was 12, and a goal, which was really great from the centre bounce. Huge goal. 12 clearances and 6 score involvements.
Massive.
That is a big day out.
He was by far and away our highest rated player on the field with a 21.6 champion data rating, which was about 3 points better than the next best, who was from Carlton, obviously. So massive.
Bloody ripper. And the next guy we mentioned earlier as well, Rep Bazzo, bloody legend. 8 1%ers, that is an underrated stat. That is a huge day out. 8 1%ers, 3 marks and 3 tackles. This guy is just developing quite nicely, which we mentioned earlier. And he was a young fella, and he was getting dropped out of the team, and he was playing hard matchups in the AFL, and we're starting to see him develop quite nicely. And he's probably going to anchor his spot in the AFL, and obviously getting interest from over East as well, which we're starting to see.
I wonder if that is his manager trying to bump up his price a little bit. No, but it's hard to argue. I can see definitely clubs coming for him. Yeah. We know key defenders are such a hot commodity, but that is just really good affirmation, I suppose, that other teams are seeing what we're seeing and seeing that there is some development in his game left to go. And just defended so well, as we said. Like, I don't think he's lost really many one-on-ones, if any. Can you remember a time where he conceded a goal personally on him? Because I don't think I can off the top.
I really can't remember any situations. I could remember situations where you're thinking Carlton might score, but then Baz is there to spoil. Yep. So he's just really in the contest, and I love the way he went about it as well. So, for sure. He was always there or thereabouts.
Definitely a couple of handover moments where his opponent hit the scoreboard while he was caught in transition or something like that, which I suppose you can put on him. But for the most part, a really good game. A couple of times he might have spoiled back into the danger zone instead of killing a boundary side, but we know that is a bit of a skill in itself, and these are things that tidy up and he becomes a really, really sound defender. So someone in the comments on YouTube a little while ago actually did mention that he could be a really good stopper defender, and I didn't really see that to begin with. I thought he was more of that third tall intercepting type, but he does have some really good... He has a really good ability to read the play and defend, and we saw some really nice body work, particularly on a guy like Harry Mackay. I just thought it was, as good a game as you could see from someone who was playing fullback in a team that conceded 60-odd inside forward 50s.
For sure, and it's just great to see. And this guy, Bailey Williams, is starting to develop quite nicely. We equaled him with the 3 votes, and I think he won the hit-outs for the day, which was great. got the 2 goals as well going down forward, and we're starting to see what Bailey's going to be for this team. So he's obviously in the future, he's not going to be our number 1 ruck. I think Cooper Duff-Tyler will end up being in that position, but Bailey Williams is going to be the perfect number 2 ruck in the competition to go in the ruck for some contests, but then go down forward and impact the scoreboard. So.
And you can see why the clubs are chasing him, can't you? It makes a lot of sense. He just fits the modern game so well. Goes forward and takes big marks in big moments, as you said, and kicks some nice goals too. So won the hit-out battle convincingly. Couldn't convert that to stoppage dominance, unfortunately. We saw a few times. That dump hit over the front worked really well for Hartley, but then they tried it again straight away and sharked by Sam Walsh. So still a little bit of continuity there, or I suppose consistency with hit-out to advantage, but
I think TK going out as well was a big thing.
Mate, so. Absolutely. That really cost us, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the changes. But Bailey Williams, what a great day.
And Jack Graham obviously came back into the side this week after a big stint in injury. He got our 2 votes. I think he was just a beast in the contest. He got 23 touches, 7 score involvements, the 4 clearances and 3 tackles. And it's just great to see his leadership as well. And he becomes that defensive midfielder who we haven't had for the past few weeks. And it's just great to see him in the contest. He can go half forward as well, which is good to see. I think that's more the position we want to play him in. I think we want TK, Yowie and Harley still in the middle. So, if he can create opportunities at half forward for our tall forwards, that's what we want him to do. And also apply the pressure game and defensive with the pressure going forward as well inside 50. So
just really clean, isn't he? He's one of those players where you just notice when he comes back in the experience that he's had obviously a couple of premierships and 100-odd games or whatever he's played, and so clean below his knees, and he's a one-touch player, and that made all the difference. Where you see our young players fumbling and causing turnovers, he's able to get the ball moving our way. So I think his long-term viability as an inside midfielder is an issue, as you said. But he's tough and he's clean, and he's a welcome addition back into this side. And it was tough to find votes this week, but
for sure.
I don't think he had his best game for sure, but walks away with the 2, and he'll build after injury.
100%. And this guy we mentioned in previous podcasts, he got dropped a few times earlier, but Bo is building quite nicely. He's got our 1 vote this week. He kicked an unbelievable goal. Big check side banana on the run.
That was unreal, wasn't it?
That was unreal. He's just his pace and his electricity, and he's just huge, mate. And we mentioned it in the pre-meeting. We did the trade, obviously, for Jagger, and we got Bo Allen, Liam Baker, Owies, and
technically Tom Gross.
Technically Tom Gross as well. So do we end up winning that trade? I think it's probably maybe a 50-50. We get Bo, they get Jagger, and we get our best and fairest for that season, Liam Baker, and our captain of our footy club. So it's probably an even out trade, but we mentioned it in previous podcasts how they had the banner on, what was it, with Jagger Smith, Willem Dersma and Harley Reid?
Yeah, on the players panel.
The players panel,
on 9, just showing us what we could have had.
A bit of salt in the wounds for us, so which wasn't great to see, but Bo's been huge for us.
He's had some really nice flashes, hasn't he? And I think we hope that he sort of becomes a consistent contributor as he builds into his career. It probably would have been nice to see him do it a little bit more consistently, just given he's such a high draft pick. But we can't argue with what he's been able to produce this year off a pretty poorly managed season last year. Didn't really get a good run at it. So he's featured in our votes a few times this year, kicked some goals, taken some nice marks, and been able to show his pace and his burst. So we'll get into some honourable mentions just quickly. I thought Liam Baker had one of his best games this year. 20 disposals and 6 intercepts, just moving a lot freer, a lot more freely than what we've seen. So potentially he's been carrying an injury of some sort, but that's a better game.
Yeah, Marcus Herbert as well. And this guy we drafted obviously in the mid-season draft, he's just showing some nice glimpses. And I think playing him halfback or wing, I think we might be wasting his opportunity here. I think we can move him to a half forward, I think, and we can create, because he's got such an elite kick. He reminds me of I know it's a weird comparison, but he reminds me of a Murphy Reid. He's got the headband on. He looks like Murphy going around the field. And I think if we can do that half forward role and he can maybe apply pressure and kick inside 50, because he's got a really nice kick on him and he's really good at finding a target, and maybe he can fix one of the issues that we're having as a small forward type.
I actually really like it. I know that it is a little bit left field, but I agree with you. He's played midfield a lot for Geelong VFL and he's been able to hit the scoreboard. So he wouldn't be someone that's playing forward and isn't probably a known goal kicker.
Yeah.
So it's not like it'd be a waste of a spot, and definitely could add something there. Just anything more offensive. Like, we haven't seen a single centre bounce from him yet. We're getting absolutely belted in the midfield. Just try something different.
Yeah.
Chuck Willem in there. Put Marcus Herbert through there. Brandon Starcevic, even he can't even find the football. Put him in a centre bounce.
Yeah.
Just try something different. So definitely can get more out of Herbert's game. Willem Dersma too, 12 disposals and a goal, but I thought he deserved an honourable mention in his comeback from injury. He definitely felt more involved in the game than his stats would suggest. And with his frame and his massive reach, he definitely can impact a lot of contests.
So exciting, dude.
Oh, what a weapon he's going to be. That goal that he kicked on all fours and then able to steady up, snap,
Nice.
no pressure at all. So, very good games. On to some disappointing games. We don't normally like highlighting or singling out players, but I think there were a few that are building a little bit of a block of disappointing footy who might be on the out as we get into some changes shortly. But Ryan Marrick, for me, is someone that we're always cautious to bag. But should he be playing over Josh Lindsay?
No.
I've seen him half-ass a lot of 1v1 contests where it's just like, if you really want your spot in the side, you're blitzing that contest 100 times out of 100. And we just haven't seen it from Ryan. I think that he's potentially being played in the wrong role. I don't know if we're getting the most out of him. I don't know where his best position is.
Well, we shuffled him quite a lot. We started him half-back. We bring him to wing, and now he's contributing at half forward. Like, where else can we play this guy?
Yeah, it's tough to know. I think he's clearly got some assets, but he's not showing them at the moment.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that beautiful kicking going inside forward 50 that we probably hoped when he got moved up to the wing as much. Hasn't been really hitting the scoreboard. Hasn't really been helping out defensively either. Like, you can't realistically say he's been getting back in the air and helping or laying any big tackles or saving goals on the goal line. So what is he actually bringing to the side? I'm just not sure. Yeah. When you've got a player who we know is going to be a future 200 gamer in Josh Lindsay, I think he should just be in the side.
Well, yeah, you mentioned, I think Josh Lindsay as well. I think this guy has an equally as good as kick as Ryan Marrick. If not better, and he does more defensive work.
And that's a knock on Josh Lindsay, is his defensive ability, but he puts his head over it. He wears the contact and he doesn't half-ass a contest.
That's right.
And that's just the difference, is the mindset in the two. And so definitely someone that I think we should be looking at as a change this week.
For sure. And Elliot Yeo, which we haven't really talked about, but he's really been consistently average at best, and average and to good. He's not really been the heights of Yeo that we've seen in previous years. He just looks off the pace a bit. I think there's a few opportunities in games. I think in the Collingwood game, he missed quite a couple easy goals. And he gives away the ball, holding the ball a couple of times as well, where he can do the easy handball.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that gets you is we're okay with a little bit less production.
Yeah.
Lower disposal count, lower impact on the game. That's fine. He's getting old and it's just good to have him on the park. But when he's trying to do too much and getting caught holding the ball a couple times a game, where he has an easy handball to pass it off, the ball moves quicker than you. So that is just something that I think is frustrating a little bit, and potentially do we look to rest him on the next away trip just to give him a freshen up and get one of these young bulls in like Ollie Franco or Finn McRae, who deserve their opportunity.
For sure. And Elijah Hewitt as well. I don't think he had too bad of a game. I think this was one of the first games where he's consistently played midfield minutes. So it's a bad game, but there's a good one there in the future. I think there's patience with Elijah. I know we've had a lot of years with Elijah. We've tried to build this guy. I think he reminds me of a little Luke Shuey type, but I don't know about Elijah. He's a bit 50-50 to me. Obviously, interest over East as well. I don't know if he stays around.
It's hard to know, isn't it? And you wonder if they're worried that if they drop him, is he going to throw the toys out of the cot and request a trade?
Yeah.
Is that the thinking there? So, because otherwise it's hard to know how he's playing ahead of Franco this week. Yeah. So it's going to be, I think selection is going to tell us a lot about the mindset at the moment. Just disappointing. 11 disposals, playing a lot of midfield, and it's more just what he does with the footy. Yeah. He has that burst, he has that pace and the ability to break tackles, but we're not seeing it so far this season really. And continuity is the main thing for Elijah. We've dropped him to the WAFL, we've played him forward, we've messed up his trajectory this year.
Yeah.
So potentially we do just need to say, hey, we're going to back you in for a month regardless of form. Just go out there and play and try and get something out of him. But definitely a tricky one. Brandon Starcevic, I think it's time we mentioned that he has been quite underwhelming this season. We're going to give him time though, I think, to find his feet. But something I noticed in his first game, and it's been a theme right throughout, is he seems very hesitant to put his head over a 50-50 contest.
Yeah.
And we know all the issues with concussion. I don't know if I'm reading into that too much, but I'd love to know if you've noticed that as well. Because it is something that's peeving me a little bit as a back pocket. You sort of have to, you have to be all into the defensive cause, and I just don't think we're seeing it from him, and I wonder if the concussion issues are playing on his mind.
I'm seeing something also where he's holding the man. He gives away a lot of holding the man free kicks. I don't know if he's worried about letting his man go and trying to run with him and get in a contest. I think he gets close to his opponent, but he's caught holding the man like all the time, and it frustrates me as well. But
it's definitely something we're going to keep a keen eye out and watch for. But I think it's fair to expect a little bit more from him now that he's had a fair block of footy under his belt back at the level. We'll get on to some of the WAFL performers, mate. We just mentioned Ollie Franco's waiting in the wings. The WAFL Eagles unfortunately did drop a game that they probably should have won against the Royals. Would have been a massive get at this stage of the season. I think we're there or thereabouts for finals. So that would be the first finals appearance for the WAFL Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. And that'd be huge for us. I know you're very keen to talk about your boy, Ollie Franco. So how did he go on Friday night?
He was just a beast, dude. He got 31 touches and 11 tackles. Like, dude, that's a huge... He's still 20 years old. Like, he's beast in the WAFL. He's beast in the Sandfell. Do we test him in the AFL?
It's got to be about that time, I think. We don't know if he's going to make it until we just give him some games.
Yeah.
This WAFL form is amazing, but we've seen many a WAFL player dominate and struggle to convert to the next level.
Of course.
I think he's got the pace and the hunger to really make something of his career. I think it's time.
And we got to think, like, we drafted this guy ahead of Marcus Herbert, which I can't believe Marcus Herbert dropped down to 13, but we projected this guy high. We obviously had him higher in our ranks than Marcus Herbert, and Marcus Herbert is contributing in the AFL. So, I think we just have to try. Like, there's nothing to lose. There's players underperforming that he is going to take the spot off and probably continue to take the spot off if he performs at a decent level. So, just why not pull the trigger?
Yeah, I think the only sticking point here is that I just really don't think he can play another position.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people mention he could be a pressure forward or maybe play on the wing. I just don't really see that. He thrives in the contest. That is where he does his best work. I don't know if I know he's better outside rounded in his game than a lot of other inside midfielders, and he's worked on that side of his game, but I still don't think it's his strength. So it's hard to see him getting a game unless he is a full-time midfielder, which is potentially the only thing holding him back. But when you've got Elijah Hewitt getting 11 touches, Elliot Yeo struggling to find it, I think he's well and truly earned his call-up, as has Finn McRae. 30 disposals and 7 tackles. He just keeps knocking the door down. Looked a class above from the vision that I saw. I caught about half of this game, and I think he deserves a game. He's been here all year, applying his trade in the WAFL to a really high standard, and I think he deserves a shot. So it's just a matter of when, I think.
I don't know. We mentioned it in previous as well that I don't know if Mini favours him.
Nah.
Which is real...
Yeah. Whether he deserves it or whether he gets it is two different things, isn't it?
That's right. And I mean, I don't know. We're a struggling side. We've got quite a few hard fixtures coming up. So do we just test some players out? Because we got really hard games coming up, which we're probably not going to win. Like, realistically, we got hard games like the Dogs, Freo, and these sort of sides, and Adelaide obviously this week. So do we pull out the curtain and do we just have a go, give these guys a go and give them a crack? So I don't know. Do they pull the trigger? That's the only question, and that leads into Luca Grego as well.
Well, it's another one. It's exactly what you're talking about, because he's built into this year really well, and he probably deserves a game too.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of when or if they feel like they should. 27 disposals and a goal. Playing a little bit more forward of centre midfield sort of role, I think, as opposed to playing off halfback earlier. Or can someone correct me on that? I'm not sure. But he came in last year against Sydney in the last game of the season and looked right on the AFL pace. So why don't we bring him into the side over a guy that's not performing?
Yeah, and Harry Schoenberg as well. I think this guy's just good depth for the squad. I think he's contributed very well for the WAFL, and I think we got to keep this WAFL form up, dude. I'm a big WAFL fan, so we keep these guys in to contribute, and yeah, he's doing a great job. So we can't fault Harry Schoenberg. He's doing a great job. He obviously had minutes earlier on in the season in the AFL, And he's definitely creeping on the window if there's a few injuries to guys like Kelly or Yo or even some of our half forwards. So it's just good to see that we're starting to have some depth in our squad as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose that is something that's being overlooked this year, I feel.
Yeah.
The WAFL has been so much more consistent and majorly thanks to those 4 rookie spots, as we mentioned, with Shonners and Finn McRae. Matt Flynn holding down his end of the bargain in the ruck. 20 disposals, 29 hit-outs. I think that he's a Monty to get a re-signing, even though he hasn't really been playing AFL footy this year.
Yeah.
No doubt he's going a long way to helping that young midfield in the WAFL.
And he's in the leadership group as well, which we forget.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think they rate him, so they're going to keep him around.
Good
for
coach
sure.
guy too. One that I wanted to mention to you was Jake Miles-Renzi, who not many people will even realise is on the list, I don't think. But Cat B rookie, basketball background from Queensland, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Playing as a key defender now. He started the season playing, I think he played a few reserve games for Perth.
Yeah.
But he's made his way into the WAFL side over the last few weeks and 7 marks, 11 disposals, playing as a key back, and he looked like he's got some attributes. He really does.
He does look like he's got that athleticism. Obviously, that basketball background is huge for him in going up and down the court. Obviously, you want to see me going up and down the court, mate. Back in my prime, nah. But dude, this guy's got some great attributes. So we'd love to see him slowly develop and maybe break into the footy side in the next 2, 3, 4 years' time.
Yeah, hopefully. I think he's one that'll stick around for sure. Let's talk about selection, mate. We've put a few potential changes up on the board. We'll just work our way through it because it is going to be a tough clash this Friday night against Adelaide.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be pretty fired up. So we'll do a little bit of a preview and then we'll let you guys get out of here. But Cooper Duff-Tyler is a confirmed out, I'm pretty sure, with a minor calf injury. They said something about tightness, but then I heard that potentially it is a small strain. So we'll see how that goes. And then TK also due back into the side. Yeah,
I think for Cooper, I think it's just a straight, easy swap. I think Jack Williams was great for us earlier on. I think he was really good with our balance in our side as well, which people
arguably shouldn't have been dropped.
Yeah, arguably shouldn't have been dropped. I think he was doing really good in hit-outs and he was going down forward and impacting and applying the pressure as well. So arguably a harsh drop. So I think it's just an easy straight swap. They swap straight to each other. And Elijah Hewitt is maybe an omission, which we mentioned previously. Obviously, Tim Kelly, I think, comes back into the side if he's fit and ready to go. So it's a matter of who they take out. Elijah probably had the quietest day out of all of our midfielders. And obviously
just on those two, because they are the confirmed ins, I suppose, or outs with CDT and TK. Jack Williams could come in, but he was tried as a key defender in the WAFL.
That's right.
So is that something that they want to give a good look to? And then where do they go from there? Do they go and try and play small ball? Who plays backup ruck? That's a really interesting one. I think we are just going to have to bring him in to play key forward backup ruck. But that sort of puts an end to that
development
project, essentially. And then Elijah Hewitt for Tim Kelly makes a lot of sense. I think that whoever Tim Kelly comes in for is going to be a big upside play for us.
Yeah.
So we're absolutely taking that. Just a quick one as well. Ryan Marrick for Josh Lindsay is something that I would look at doing.
Please, guys.
I don't know how well received that'll be because Ryan Marrick is a bit of a fan favourite, but we simply just have to find room for Josh Lindsay in this team. And then if we want to give Ollie Franco a go as a fourth change, I'm not so sure that this would happen. I don't think it's highly likely, but if we wanted to do a bit of a reshuffle to get Jack Graham out of that midfield mix, put Ollie Franco in, a player like Hamish Davis, Tom Cole, Jack Hutchinson or Elliot Yeo could come out. And that'd be a really good way of making a bit of a statement for a player who would think their spot in the side is maybe safe and bringing in someone who's knocking down the door in the WAFL.
And it could mean a reshuffle as well with Jack Graham would probably get less minutes in the midfield and probably push to that half forward, which is probably where he can contribute a little bit more to this side. So I don't know if they do it, but it'd be good to see if it happens.
It's definitely a little bit more of a hopeful one than a likely one. Are you going to be there at the game this week, mate?
Friday night. Ooh. Yeah, should be able to, mate. Should be able to, hopefully. So, I'll try my best, guys.
We are stitched up a little bit, I guess, because Friday night footy is always good to go to. But if we're going to get absolutely belted off the park, I don't know if they'll get a big crowd. We'll see how we go. I think that their key forwards are definitely going to be the main area of concern. Obviously, Phil Thorpe not having his best year, he's going to be looking for
the bag.
Yeah, a way to get his season back on track, essentially.
Sure.
Yeah, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Had a great clash with Jinby last year, but obviously we don't have Ruben out there. So I do worry a little bit for Baz. I think we saw some really nice body work from him on some lesser built key forwards this week, but Riley Thilthorpe is a different beast. So,
and we're forgetting Taylor Walker and
Fogarty kicked 5 goals.
Yeah, Fogarty kicked 5 goals,
Mate.
but it had his best game in a losing game this season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're building their forwards nicely. So,
I think I said to you just before we get started, they're a chance to kick 10 between them, those three.
And we've barely kicked 10 this season.
We hardly kick 10 goals a game. So it's going to be really, really tough. It's going to be a big week for Tyler Young and Rep Bazzo. So we see how they go.
Good luck to you boys.
Yeah. Tim Kelly will be a big addition.
Yep.
Hopefully Harley Reid can fire up and hopefully Jake Waterman can get on the end of a few.
We definitely need to win that midfield. Otherwise, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
I think.
Got some grave fears for how this game's going to pan out. They've obviously come off a big loss against Port Adelaide in the showdown. They were humiliated. So they're going to be looking for some get back and try and get their season back on track. So
sure.
See how we go. I'm not too confident. How are you feeling?
I don't know how to say it, but I don't know. It's going to be a tough game, dude. They're a good side, and obviously Port put a number on them, and which is very interesting to see. But Port wanted that get back for that game in the previous season. They were fired up to go and ready to win that showdown.
Love a showdown.
How good's a showdown, dude? Like, such an underrated event in the AFL. It's probably arguably the best rivalry in the sport.
It's good to see it stand alone this time around.
Yeah.
For sure.
Dude, that first game this year, that was crazy good, wasn't it, dude?
Do they do showdowns at Gather Round?
Oh,
I'm pretty sure. Do they? I don't think they do.
I don't think they have, no.
They should, though. I was going to say we should get over there. That'd be unreal.
We'll be at Gather Round next year. We're definitely going to try and get over there for that.
Got to make it happen.
Gonna happen, guys. Don't you worry about that. But I think that'll do us for this week, mate.
Absolutely, mate. We do have a pretty tough run home. As we mentioned before, I think we've got one more winnable game realistically on the horizon with Richmond at the G. So hopefully we can get over the 5 wins for the year. But we're going to go away and do a little bit of work to see how we can try and make the podcast a little bit more entertaining if we are getting belted off the park every week.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're just waiting for the trade and draft period to roll around. Make sure to click back if you missed last week's trade update. If you haven't already, that was a great episode and it's evergreen for the next couple of weeks. And if you want to stay up to date with everything as it breaks, make sure you're following us on Instagram.
For sure.
But looking forward to covering the trade and the draft very, very closely over the next couple of months.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming on the podcast as always. It's Kurt and us, and thank you for now. We'll see you next week.
See you in the next one.
See you next one. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Golden Wigs podcast. Please take a moment, if you're on YouTube, to subscribe to the channel. Follow along. If you're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating. And if you're on Instagram, please make sure to follow us at Golden Wings Podcast to not miss out for any information throughout the week. And most importantly, if you have a friend, family member who love the West Coast Eagles, put in a good word for the podcast. We try our best, guys, and it'll be much appreciated if you're able to help us on the podcast. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.